Okay, hello everyone, George Webb, and you are watching Neighborhood News. Well, wait a minute, you're not just watching Neighborhood News, you're watching Neighborhood News and Wealth. What? I'm watching Neighborhood News and Wealth? Yes, you're watching Neighborhood News and Wealth. Are you sure I'm just watching Neighborhood News and Wealth? No. No, that's right. You're not just watching Neighborhood News and Wealth. You're watching Neighborhood News, Wealth, and Health. We have it all for you, Neighborhood News, Health, and Wealth. So, why is the question? You guys are doing news so great. You did the live exercise, the military live exercise. Mike Pompeo confirmed to you the next day saying live exercise. Trump said, "Why didn't you tell me?" You did January 6th. You showed Joe Biggs throwing the gates. The orange hats did it. The red hats didn't. Trump's innocent. Those are two big things. You did the crazy network on Capitol Hill with the Blackberries. That was great. You guys are doing great in news. Why are you also doing health and wealth? Well, if you think about it, there's no sense if you survive this election. There's no sense in surviving unless you're going to live with health and live with wealth. And those are the two things. You may have seen a lot of our reporting in the pandemic. That we talked a lot about health. You may have also seen our education series, Make Your Kid a Doctor, Make Your Kid a Farmer, Make Your Kid a Nurse, Make Your Kid an Engineer, for making you wealthy. This is so you'll never have to lift a finger during your retirement, and your kids will take care of you because they'll be so wealthy. That's the strategy here. So Neighborhood News, Health, and Wealth. There you go. Well, we've got a big show planned for you today. Just in the area of health. And by the way, this is the reason the camera's not off center. Camera's not off center. Camera's not off center. This is the hot seat for guests who want to join the show whenever. Yeah, I'll do a water. Our first guest has asked me if I want a water. Sure, why not? That's a part of health, is it not? Drinking water. That's our first thing today. But no, seriously, we had a lot of discussions over this week. This week we're gaming out. We got another save today, guys. Trump not assassinated. Trump not rendered. Woohoo! Another save for Neighborhood News for Donald Trump. So he lives through another one. Why don't you just? Yeah, it's time to come on. I'll introduce our first guest, Tara Starr. Tara Starr, how are you? The crowd goes wild. Water. Water is life. Here she is, the great Tara Starr.
Hello.
Tara, you drove all the way from Massachusetts.
I did.
We'll center the camera a little bit. Oh, we got to turn your mic on. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
No?
Hey, you guys know I have a really big mouth. So do I really need a mic?
No.
Once in a while.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's all good. So we've talked. So you're over at the Charette House.
Yes.
You're at the beautiful old farmhouse.
At the farm.
Yeah. Okay. And Tom's going to adjust the mic here. So we're going to get a little bit of a mic and camera adjustment. Excuse me. Aloha, amigos.
Aloha.
So there we go. That's the Michigan flag there. It's not just green screen.
And we are once again on the Michigan-Ohio line. And, we're swinging it both directions. We had a great Trump, what would you call it? The flag seller right when I arrived. So that was very exciting. Yeah. I wish he was actually still here today, but I'm sure he was doing good. So I'm sure he has a lot of places he could pop in.
He was here 3 days and it was great. And we have our new Neighborhood News studio sign out there, that 26-foot long sign. We're going to put another one out there pretty quick. But getting to health. Okay. We've talked a lot about the trying to kill Trump and all that.
Yeah.
Right. At our charrette, we've gamed it out. We've done a lot of AI. We've done a lot of whiteboarding.
Mm-hmm.
But also we've talked a lot about health. That you do a show currently right now with Carol McIntosh.
Yep.
Right?
We're protecting the nest, and we throughout time we're all kind of doing our own protecting, whether it be our
both grandmothers.
We're both grandmothers. And
she's
then
a great grandmother.
She's a wonderful grandmother, and she's a wonderful healer.
Yeah.
And Amber's the mama, so she's the mama of the nest, and of course we might be at any given time, moving around. But Amber is running for City Council of Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
In
yeah.
Atlanta.
So she's bridging the divide in Atlanta right now.
Yeah.
So that's why she's not joining
That's why
the
she's
show.
not here in person, but
Yeah.
yes. And so I call what she's doing right now Protect Atlanta, because she is in fact, regardless of what she's running for, she does help protect her community. She's been active in a community for a long time, long before we met her, but we were, everything happened very organically.
She's sort of the female Trump. She's reaches out to the black neighborhoods and the white neighborhoods in a 90% black community.
Yep.
And does a really great job.
And that's her neighborhood.
And I've been down there many times to her houses.
Yep,
She's got 3 or 4 of the houses in the local Atlanta area. So there's Amber Connor. The great Andy DiBala will pull up her. There you are.
Yeah.
There you are with her.
And she has a fierce dog. She has a fierce dog.
I thought it was you. It went by quickly.
Well, that's how we do it when we jump into the different roles. You know, we might just wind up at Neighborhood News. And should we get?
So I wanted to comment while Andy's looking for her profile, and I don't think you've shared this on the screen yet, Andy, but looking for her profile in Atlanta. So we'll be doing the background graphics.
ACT a lot of times, or is this ACT? But I know that's. Yep. There.
Profile. Just
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that we want to cover, at least I would like to see this time around. I know you guys have the show, but we would definitely like to, because we have the big space here, studio, nice big space.
It's a beautiful space. And you know how, like, when somebody moves out of a home and into a different home, they bring their spirit, their soul with them. That's exactly what happened here. I mean, although the outside, like I said, was a little bit more flashy. And then I was like, wait, this is us. Very exciting. And you come right back into the soul of the studio.
Yeah,
and that feels good.
There's Amber. We're going to bring up Amber here really quick to show her.
Hello, I'm Amber for Atlanta. That's right. Amber for Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a website there too? Okay. So good. So,
Amber for Atlanta.
So please go to Amber's website, support her campaign, and let's get her in there. Protect Atlanta.
Yeah. So the idea is to bring in various speakers on wealth and health.
Yeah.
We have a place here. We talked about cancer this morning. We talked about it the night before. We talked about it the night before that. You didn't like the idea the name Cancer Camp.
Right. We want to have, it was an idea of one of our group, and he's been working on it, and I thought it was a great idea. I was just kind of critiquing the name a little bit, because
Take a Bite Out of Cancer was the original name.
Okay. I like that better.
We were going to have, the basic idea though is bring in people that are holistic doctors, kind of like KarmaDoc.
Yep.
Or other people who have written books on the cancer topic.
Yep.
Have them do a speaking engagement here. We can put 50 people here.
Yep.
We can have their book signing and ask the questions, film them here. Right. And the same thing for speakers on wealth as well.
Yes,
so it's more of a seminar. Originally, when Aaron was putting this together, was going to be to bring in just experts, and we'll use the show as sort of an extended invitation for the experts who have books or have a book in them that want to get a book out. Remember John O'Loughlin when we first met him?
Yes.
Didn't have the book yet.
That's right.
But
that's
then
right.
The book came out.
And that's how it all happened. That's exactly how it all happened. I mean, you plan something and, you put it out there and it starts to develop itself.
Right.
It has a certain snowball effect, and, people are doing their own thing anyway. So to have a nice, arena that people can come and overlap, that's what we do. We network. And I can think right now while you're talking, George, about some people that actually build some of these like technologies that would probably, you can think of the intermingling, and not even necessarily the people that are trying to present something, but obviously the people that are looking for this information and just maybe could get a bunch of different information all in one event or, series of days, however it works out. So that is wealth. Health is wealth, but when we say wealth, we know we're talking about also the money that it takes to fuel everything. Because, you could say, oh, some person may not focus on the numbers or whatever, but we still need the flow. So whatever your angle of the flow is, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, somebody asked what happened to you and McDuff, and so I was in Washington D.C. At a place just outside the city limits in Washington with task force for about a year and a half. She died unexpectedly, precipitously. So then John was good enough to say, hey, well, if you want a place to do your stuff, why don't you come to not Gibson Island, but why don't you come to Cobb Island? And so that's where I started collaborating with John at his house. And at that time we hadn't had a charrette there yet. So there was,
first we did actually look for the Gibson Island though on the boat.
Right. So we had one in Annapolis.
Yeah.
But we had never had a charrette on Cobb Island.
Right. It was kind of like COVID pushed us. Like when we met, it was very interpersonal and we had a lot of sparks to begin with. But I feel like COVID, George had invited a lot of different authors. So I'm sure the event that John was hosting would have been much huger, which would have been great, but it would have been a different trajectory.
Well, in 2018, August 2018, when Task Force died precipitously, I went that fall. I can't remember exactly when I ended up there because I was in Annapolis for a while, but that fall, like November-ish timeframe, I remember spending Thanksgiving and Christmas that fall with John. And Task Force had just died, and I was kind of bummed out about that, and was kind of a right-hand researcher. But I started doing daily shows with John, and we started getting really big numbers on YouTube. But the same thing that happened with me on YouTube, getting knocked down on YouTube, it kind of brought that to John, and John was getting censored. So we went a long time, if you remember. And John I think, after I left the island, I still did the shows occasionally, but it wasn't as conducive like this, where we're doing daily shows.
Right.
And then he just kept getting knocked down. And finally, the cancer came back, and he kind of took a few months off.
Focusing on health, focusing on himself. You guys know he still broadcasts. And I actually talked to him.
Today?
Not like last week.
Okay.
And they were... him and Drummer were in
Puerto Rico.
Rico.
Yeah, for a cancer conference.
Yeah, for a conference and for the health conference. And these are people that focus on, healthy eating and different sustainable stuff. But so, there's been a natural thing, and I think all of us have had an ebb and flow where, we talk about challenging information, and we all need to regroup at some point, whether it be to our own health or our family life or, financial piecing together, stuff like that. And so the whole idea of having a group and a network is so that you can hang back and relax, and then someone else will kind of show up to fill in, and they don't have to do exactly what you do, but it kind of moves the energy around. I felt like in Protecting the Nest that I didn't even realize, we were going in one direction, and then it was the realization that they're trying to kill us, even it's just okay, so all of a sudden we're in survival mode. It's just different levels of, and we all know we can't stay just fight or flight constantly. Right. So, there's just different, everyone's the same, they're not going anywhere. John's still here. We're still here. And we've all, as a nation and as a world, gone through huge amount of things over these past few years. A lot of stuff. And
I think when we got together, I think we had 3 different charrettes on Cobb Island, something like that, where these are news gathering events of 10 to 12 people for 10 to 12 days. We had that one was 18 people over 18 days. One of them was.
And also for J6, that had its own intensity unto itself.
Yeah, that was 18 people for 18 days. We had a lot of people. But like Amber said, Tara said, a lot of people take different roles. Even if some people are quiet, like your husband's quiet, but there were things that needed to happen, in order to enable as a carpenter.
Yeah.
And so there was some things that hadn't been fixed for years that he magically fixed. And just everybody, it's sort of like self-assembling, we were the self-assembling nanobots, and we weren't killing anybody inside anybody's veins, right?
No. We're the opposite.
We were doing good things and building decks and fixing houses while organizing all these materials from the Hoover era and also from the Kennedy era.
That's
and then
right.
all that came out. It got photographed, it got cataloged, it got tagged.
Yep.
And that all ended up becoming a book, which is Let's Call Him Macduff. With John's channel.
By John O'Laughlin. Exactly.
Great book. And he became an author. And then other people who came down became authors. And so what we really do as a team is really try to approach the person and say, how can we help you realize this dream of you getting this book out? Or whatever it is, movie or documentary.
And he's had these stories in his heart. So it's not that the story just appeared. I mean, he was just able to get to the point to process it to that point. And honestly, we all know that when it's our own stuff and our own history, our own family history, it's harder to sort through, because then you have to deal with like emotions and all this stuff. So if you can have, that particular time, it was Andy and Dave, I'm going to highlight them, that helped John really sort through this emotional stuff and historical stuff that were gems, absolute gems. And that's why the book is basically that coming together.
Yeah, this, I wrote a book, which I think is over there somewhere. And then this one is John's book, which is Macduff Lives. But it's a great book because it takes you through Hoover, and it takes you through his time on the USS Nashville with MacArthur in the waning days of World War II, and then the critical time of Bobby Kennedy and John F. Kennedy not trusting anybody at the CIA, and so they bring Macduff in at the CIA. So I wrote the book first to show John it could be done.
Right.
John wrote the book second, his answer to my book, because he wanted to add his stuff. But both of these books came out of the collaboration of everybody coming down, to Cobb Island and getting all the materials. And I wrote a second book. All my New Orleans books
stemmed from that information,
because Macduff worked on investigating Oswald and Ruby. So it was just a natural thing to do a whole bunch of different New Orleans and Kennedy assassination books after working on the Macduff story. So, and then many other topics as well that's led to me writing about. So Andy, are we still good?
It's a flow.
It's a flow. Yeah. And you haven't written any books yet.
No, but I will say that Norman.
But you've written a lot of songs.
Yes. And I will say that Norman wrote a song that goes along with these books. And did he call it Let's Call Him Macduff? You'll have to go to Norman Lee Smith, actually, on like iHeartRadio and Spotify. But his Macduff song is beautiful. It's like a ballad. It's a beautiful.
Yeah, everybody contributes in their own way. And Norman, in the time I've known him, was Walking with Macduff. There it is.
Yeah, Walking with Macduff. Thank you.
Yeah, play a little bit of that. Yeah. I don't know if we'll be able to hear it or not.
Yeah, it's a really long song. Anywhere.
Yeah, in the middle somewhere probably, because Norman's intros.
So, and Norman is and asking what I've done is that I'm lucky enough to do a couple songs with Norman lately, and there's more to come. And one is right now. It's kind of like he has on these things, but like I said, iHeartRadio and stuff like that. But he certainly. This is one thing that I just want to plug about his songs, is that he usually really pops off on his guitar riffs like at the end of the song. So I always hope people like fans and listen all the way, because we really like ripped it at the end, and it's so fun. So you'll be seeing Norman, because he almost made it this time, but that's what we do.
You get a lot of my graphic pictures that were used in my book there. And you
Yes.
get shots from my book
Yes.
as well.
So if you like to get your information musically, and that,
One way.
if you have a musical mind and that's how you absorb things, then that's one way to do it. And I'm glad that you had the pictures and stuff, George, because I know you and I trust you, but I was telling Tom, I don't really trust that much stuff that's written down anymore. Like I used to really read so much stuff, and now I'm just like I can't tell who's lying unless I can know a little bit more of the context of it. Because I just didn't realize there were so many liars out
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we go and do do these things where everybody meets everybody, and we get the big house and so forth, and we're on a beautiful farm.
Gorgeous.
That really
1800s.
Yeah, 1823 is the stone cobble work, and so it's a really gorgeous thing. So what we try to do is have people who want to write a book, or want to do a song. We're not so much as you're very musical, but if you want to write a book, we really got that one nailed.
Which I think I could do.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you can start. The hardest
There'd be a lot of rambling.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of rambling. I'll do edit after edit after edit.
All I wanted Tara to do was sing Summerfield. To the tune of Seals and Cross, Summer Breeze. But
I did get it right. So,
yeah,
Summerfield makes me feel fine, flowing with Aaron in my mind.
Perfect.
And then you guys too.
See,
so that's how we do.
That's how you do, and that's how it is done right there. And that's just so easy for you to do all the time, and we love it, and we're going to capture it, and that'll be how we start every show from now on, with Summerfield. But it is this road that you drive in on.
It's gorgeous.
From all the American flags, all the Trump signs, all the horse farms.
Yep.
It really is kind of.
It's the heart of the nation.
Yeah, it really is.
It's the heart of the nation. It's like we were talking the other day about, I forget who was saying it, but this flyover crap. It's like, no, okay. This is our agricultural lands. And I know it keeps on going in a lot of bigness, but this particular area of the Midwest is a lot happens. And this particular area itself is very, when I say the model for the country, not every place is the same, but community and community industry, people talking to people directly, not
talking about people.
And even news, sometimes good information actually does get through on the local news because it's happening in real time. They might get rid of it later, so it's just talking to the people on the ground, talking to the people that were there, and then things go from there. But somebody needs to talk to the people on the ground. That's the key.
Yeah, well, and I think if you look at the candidates, where they're spending all their time in Michigan, and they're spending all their time in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
A little bit of time in Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just kind of so they don't spend all their time in Michigan.
Right,
so
right.
It looks like it's not just
so they can go to the other side of the country for a minute.
Yeah, for a minute to go get donations in India. We
right.
warned Trump about India.
Right.
But really, Trump here today, we just got back from Novi. I think we give ourselves another save because Trump lives again another day.
Yeah, I meant.
But we're just up there in Novi. They're up here all the time. They're here every day. We can go every day to different events.
Yep.
And I think in the next 9 days, Trump's here 7 of those days, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So coming in Novi, we cleared out Welland. We cleared out the Russian sniper girls so that it was all just supporters.
Yep.
And so Trump lives.
Kicked him to the curb.
Yeah.
I know. I meant we have to pray for him every day and the people protecting him. This has been such a, well, obviously that is the challenging point, but I feel like the support of him even around the globe, just with the prayerfulness is so strong right now. And more people are getting it. And, it's more than just him as a person, because like he said, he is representing us. He is backed by, generals we don't even know what their names are, so it's just, if we all just keep on like rising the tide, because I just feel like there's still a lot of people that don't get it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I mean, we have to have some challenges.
And you have a lot of woke neighbors in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when people see my license plate, they're like, "Oh, Massachusetts. What are there, like 2 Republicans there?" I was like, "Yeah, like it's
yeah,
pretty,
not many.
But
no. This is the example of people driving a long distance to go
Yep.
to a swing state where you can make a difference.
Yep.
You have your musical talents, and you have your just other worldly friendship, nice person.
Yeah. Thank you.
And nice personality and great contributions to news gathering that you do. But everybody brings a different thing to the table in terms of background. You had been done a lot of things in medicine, helping people and helping doctors. So I think this is the idea of the charrette, where everybody comes together, meets each other, trusts each other.
Yep. And we've attracted great people.
Yeah.
Great people.
And great people. And then they something great comes out of it. I produce Substacks every day, but not just that. We did the animated feature at the end of the one that you guys called out, the live exercise, you and Carol.
Yes.
With the bid rigging for coronavirus.
Yeah.
We came out with that Scott Adams Went Hub.
In real time. It was all in real time.
Yeah.
And that you could have been going along, finding out, being very ahead of the curve if you were following us.
Military live exercise, March 2020. Bang.
And it wasn't even like we came in and was like, we have all the answers. It was just more than what we could do by ourselves started to happen.
Right. And we had some great whistleblowers that were coming.
Yep.
That helped. Remember, I won't say the Russian writer, the gentleman who spoke Russian, but we had some great Washington, D.C. writers come in.
Yep.
Who also were lectured us and so forth. So it's really everything.
It is.
And each one of these things is unpredictable.
Yep.
And then until you see what comes out the other end.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're kind of in a position right now where the interesting thing with anybody you talk to is what the heck do they think is going to happen?
Yeah. We've been talking about this a lot. And each night we come up with different possible scenarios. Everything from, Kamala immediately resigning and Hillary becoming president, or, Kamala not even making it to election day. And, everyone thinks Hillary still could be a big part of this. This is Trump. I think we made sure Trump got off the stage and out of the building today before we left Novi. So he should be okay. He should be safe there.
Got the angels in full gear.
But yeah, we're mentioning somebody is looking in the chat, mentioning when we went out to Concord Bridge in Lexington.
Yep.
And then we went down to meet you and Mark for Christmas.
Yes.
Housatonic.
And that's when kind of this vaccine era was underway. So I feel like it was like, it's been.
I met the Nazi who was out at the Lincoln Nuclear Navy Planning Center. He had said that in Walden Pond, right? In that city, which I'm not sure if it's called Walden or not. No, it's not Walden.
It's Walden Pond. Maybe is it in? I'm not sure what's it.
It's not far from Lexington.
It's very beautiful. It's very nice.
But we drove there, and this woman was talking about how she came to the United States and how her dad was a Nazi scientist, and he went to work out at the Lincoln Navy Research Center at MIT there. Not the one downtown on the Charles, but the one further out by Concord.
Yep.
Lincoln. Lincoln Lab. It's the Lincoln Lab.
Lincoln Lab.
What was I thinking about? So
they call it the Lincoln Lab?
Yeah, it's called the Lincoln Lab.
I didn't even know they called it that.
It was originally done for Navy, calculating Navy munitions and and it's done all kinds of radiation experiments and all kinds of things out there. I think they don't put it down on the Charles because it's a little too close to all the people in Boston, but they kind of put it out there.
Like in the water?
Well, it's not actually.
Well, what town is it the closest to? What the heck?
We'll
so
bring
it's
up
the Lincoln Lab. The
Lincoln Lab has
okay. Well, we need to watch out
has
for
a
the
reactor.
Lincoln Lab.
So here it is, the Research Center, U.S. Navy Research Center.
No wonder you don't hear about it. All right, let's see. Yeah. Well, Boston has a lot of things you wouldn't think about.
The Blood Lab is there. So that's why I think Jordan Walker was there. But founded in 1923, the Navy Research Lab is an engineering, blah, 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 Office of Naval Research, DARPA. Right?
Committed to inclusion and diversity.
Always. And then what's the address of this location? Overlook, Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Is this?
So maybe they have secret connections out there that people don't even know about.
That just might be the website.
Yeah.
If you look, so the reason why I know about this, I better stop talking.
Okay. So,
yeah, because I don't want to out anybody.
Okay.
But we know people there, and they tell us things, and so this is where 2016 Navy Working Capital Fund. Can you see that 2021 there aerial view? Is that Washington D.C. or that Basic and Applied Research?
Concord, Massachusetts.
Is it Concord? So it is in Concord.
It is in Concord.
Okay.
Well,
Walden Pond.
But
Okay.
where is
Sorry,
this location here?
So Walden Pond is in Concord.
That's the one in Washington D.C.
So
yeah, that's the one. That's the Navy lab that's down by did all the COVID testing and stuff. Yeah.
So yeah,
but
Boston.
there is a Lincoln Laboratory, MIT. I would say Lincoln Laboratory, MIT.
So they probably call it MIT.
Yeah, it's the Lincoln Laboratory at MIT.
Yep.
There you go. See where MIT Lincoln Laboratory. There it is. There it goes. Now, the reason why this is important is a lot of things happen here for Raytheon because Raytheon's big in the Boston area.
Yep.
And they're doing all these experimental satellites, and they employed all these Nazis. This gal was talking about our 99-year-old dad that had just died. He was a Nazi scientist.
Like an Operation Paperclipper?
Paperclip guy, yeah. And this is where autonomous vehicles first started.
Okay.
So the B-24 that hit the Empire State Building flew from Hanscom Air Force Base in Boston from this field and hit a few months after the World War II was over, hit the Empire State Building. It caused everybody to be scared in civilian times. So we should keep building weapons of war. But that's the kind of stuff they've done is all this kind of drone type stuff.
Traceable global food.
So you're learning on this show.
Traceable. I'm always learning.
Yeah.
And then of course the 9/11 planes left from Boston too. So
we had people when we did the Concord show that did not know. People from Canada did not know their own. And they sang it in French, but they didn't know what it meant in French. Their own
like the English speaking people.
Canada. No, the English speaking people knew what it said, but it doesn't mean the same. They changed it.
Oh, they changed it.
Originally, it meant your hearth and your home, meaning you would always fight for your hearth and your home.
Okay.
But they changed it, the part where you say you'll fight for your hearth and your home at the end, to always have allegiance to the Queen.
Always have allegiance to the Queen.
Not fight for your hearth at home, always have allegiance to the Queen. So
the Queen is
dead.
The Queen is dead.
Contact tracing came out of Lincoln Lab.
Contact tracing came out of Lincoln Lab.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of the
working hand in hand with your Callahan buddy.
Yeah, Michael Callahan was at 2 of these hospitals. So all this stuff, they work with General, Mass General. See all this stuff. Inviting biomedical devices. Yeah. So we have people in all these national labs. I don't want to, single out any one particular one, but but this is how we, we have people that are very smart at all these national laboratories, and they tell us, hey, you're on the right tracks.
Mhm.
You're on the right track with, how DNA is being kind of hidden
Mhm.
for a private project
Right.
for these guys who are doing cancer, and they're
Mhm.
not sharing it with you guys. And there's some things out there you guys need to know, and these types of things.
It's such a challenging subject, and I think that's why it is such an important thing for us to reach a new plateau, like new, get out of the phase we've been in. It's just
Look at this contracting tracing animation they got going here at the Lincoln Lab.
that is so disturbing. Okay. You know what?
Build your social graph of all
like-
your friends, your friendly deplorables. We'll get them all. We'll get them all with the next
It's
one.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Like I had signed up to do the census right before this whole thing, and then I was just like, oh, forget it. I'm not doing that, because it's like, what are they going to contract trace you to like? I'm like, no. So
You're secretly doing it through Bluetooth in your cell phones.
And did you see where that your ads
I don't usually have it
that
on.
would be shown to you in the mall would be
what
they
you
call-
walked by?
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
called chirps.
Oh,
Just what I want is a bunch of ads chirping at me when I'm
Right.
trying to find the hardware
Yeah.
to find that bit that I need for the deck. I'd love to have all these chirping ads. Yeah.
You're like, I'm already walking by it. Just put a sign out.
yeah. Yeah. There you go. And look at it shows that they violated the 6 foot distance. They got within 5 feet, 10 inches. Violation. And it shows the person who they violated with.
And isn't it wonderful that this is all based on like a fraudulent, or not a fraudulent, but a fraudulent use of a test?
Right.
So it's like, it's not even flipping based on anything real.
They just
so-
wanted to know who all your friends were and their friends.
Yeah.
This
so-
was a use to develop a social map of all
yeah. Or
the
to knock
deplorables.
somebody down if they do the wrong thing, and like, oh, we need to take you now to. I mean, it seems like in Australia they were really getting freakish with like actually going to people's houses and like, for the COVID thing,
Crazy.
taking them to like some camp. I mean, that is
We
the
can take
scariest
out
thing
Andy
right
there,
you
yeah.
know?
Well, what's interesting is we had one user talk about James Jameson,
Mhm.
billionaire. You were there at the conference, Tom. Billionaire going after us not once, not
Mhm.
twice, but 3 times. A billionaire. We set down John Gotti's bodyguard / hitman. How many times did that guy come? 3 times. What was his name? Chad. I can't remember his name. It was like it wasn't Chad, but anyway.
I forget.
But still, you knew that they were cognizant of us. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been sending. They went to the city to try to
Yep.
shut us down 3 times,
Mhm.
and we had this thing outside.
Mhm.
We were social distancing. I think if
Yep.
everybody remembers, Rick Olson,
Yep.
the tremendous
Yes, love Rick, pianist.
pianist in Los Angeles
Yes,
area,
yes,
had the
yes.
mask on. He was at a distance. We all were 6 foot.
Yep.
We were.
And a giant deck.
We had a gigantic deck, so we were all at 6 foot distances.
It looked like that get together. They had the 88 people. You know, on the-
What? Joe's rally.
Oh yeah. It looked like a Kamala Harris rally where everybody.
Yeah, with the
was-
circle around everyone. You be in the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We look like a big Kamala Harris crowd. Yeah.
Dude, what kind of like? There's got to be some wacky movies, like comedy made out of that era. You know what I mean? Just of like the stupid or something. I don't know.
Well,
Just
I
to,
think
just
we're
to
so
try to
close
laugh
to it.
about it. you
We're
know?
so close to it now. People can't probably laugh too much at it.
That's
yet.
true. No,
But in like 5 years,
right. That's what I mean.
when we see
And-
all these tuba players and they all have masks on, they're trying to play their tubas through their masks.
Yeah.
It's going to be funny.
Exactly.
It's gonna be funny.
Exactly. When it's not so serious and heartbreaking, which is time.
I was laughing when I saw it live.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're
That's
right. You're right. Andy's right. You need comic relief. You do.
See
You
where
do.
JEJ says that he worked at Hanscom Air Force Base
Oh.
and met Obama there, and Coney and Mueller at Boston FBI when those planes left there. Yeah. So it's pretty-
Possibly McCabe,
pretty incredible.
our favorite guy.
By the way, I won't won't say this right now. So I'm just saying, where is the Air Force Base in Bedford, Mass? Is that Hanscom?
That's Hanscom.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
I knew it wasn't exactly the same place as the Lincoln Lab.
Right.
I knew there was a distance in
Right.
between.
Mhm,
Yeah, it's out that way.
mhm. Well, nothing
Excuse
in
me.
Massachusetts is
Lincoln,
really that way.
Massachusetts. Did you see
think he
that?
said he had to go through the airport, go into the base to get over to the Lincoln Lab.
I think
It's
the base.
75 acres and 25
So are they
acres of Lincoln
connected?
Lab.
Yeah, I think the Lincoln Lab was given to MIT from the Air Force Base after World War
Mhm.
II, because Raytheon and what was the guy, Bush, Vannevar Bush, who ran the Office of Science and Technology, said, "Hey, we've got all this stuff that people have sent us, and now the war's over. Now we can capitalize on it. Now we can make patents on all of it." Yeah, Vannevar Bush,
Mhm, mhm.
Bedford, Massachusetts, in 1954.
Yep.
Okay,
We'll have to go there.
yeah, we should go to that. This is the only place, like, you see that Sage Air Force Defense System
Mhm.
that later went to Missile and Space and Defense down in Alabama,
Mm.
and that's the same system that then went back to Winber when they were talking about Missile Command.
Is that the LaRouche? Like,
Well,
missile
it's-
defense system.
Well, I don't know if LaRouche worked on it or not, but they retooled a wargaming system for missile defense, Missile Command, it was called. I think the game came out of it, the video game.
Yeah.
For looking for women, for tumors for breast cancer at Winber. And the guy who had the top secret clearance was the guy working for Nick Jacobs, who then Bob Malone hired. So they were going to use that software for finding same software they used to detect whether a missile was coming in the night sky or not. It's the same software they were going to use to detect women's cancer. So, yeah.
And did it work?
I don't know.
No.
I got to ask Bob Malone. I think that's what Shuang Wu's patents are in, you know.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, she had an AI patent with Amazon and so forth.
Oh.
So this is it. Sage blockhouses,
Semi-automatic ground environment.
semi-automatic ground environment, large system of computers and networking equipment coordinated from many radar sites to present a single unified image over airspace over a wide area. It was NORAD's initial response to a Soviet attack. How about that? Does the great Aaron Adler want to say anything during this? You're good. Have you go ahead.
I want to mention something about the Hanscom.
Sure.
So have you gone onto like the Space Force website?
Maybe Andy will bring it up. No,
1 second.
Okay, so that's right. We don't need to see it right this second, but I'll just say, because it's
you could do the jingle for Space Force.
it's actually the
Space
best-
Force,
Yeah,
Space Force.
Yeah, exactly. We could do some kind of new. But so Space Force is actually hiring civilians. And so I looked into that, and they have different needs for different areas. But right now they are hiring at Hanscom.
Oh, really?
Yep, through the Space Force, and which apparently the Air Force is going to be under, or maybe already is. But in any case, the jobs were too technical for me.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
some other ones are like every skill. So it just happens that one was more technical, but in other areas, they're going to be doing a lot of acquisitions too. So
Well, I think Space Force, I mean, it probably comes, the division line is 327,360 feet up, which is 62 miles, which is the difference between outer space, totally arbitrary, and lower space. And I think the Air Force has anything that can't get there,
okay,
but Space Force has everything that can get there.
okay,
So anything like a missile or a satellite or a space lab, you know, NASA needs that's Space Force.
Yep.
If it's military, and that's mainly satellites. You know,
Yep.
mainly satellites.
Yeah.
But we've done Space Force we were at the graduation in San Diego, the first Space Force class.
Yes.
We were in
Yes.
Lompoc up at Space Force for many long Space Force in Canaveral, oodles of time, where that was the next Navy base there
Yep.
that they had retooled. Not a lot of people know that Cape Canaveral is a military base.
Right.
Where else? Have we been?
Imagine waking up one morning
Huntsville,
without all the comforts and necessities
Houston.
afforded by our
Houston a number
nation's
of
Yeah,
times. That's
yeah.
a Space Force location.
Yeah. So, this is
space capabilities support our supply chain, banking and
Space
financial
Force.
systems,
it's kind,
weather
it's
tracking,
kind of like
power grids,
an umbrella.
as well as air.
Yeah, well, it's a
and maritime
vision of
infrastructure.
the military, just like the Army and Navy is
Our
now.
U.S. military is the
Yep.
strongest, best trained, and most equipped in the world.
Well,
In
I
the
think
heavily
that-
contested
No, I
space
think that it
division,
is.
Space Systems
That
Command
is-
leads a team of roughly
how I see it.
15,000
Elon
U.S.
Musk
Space
needs
Force
Trump
guardians,
and
airmen,
needs
civilians,
his contract.
and contractors who are on duty 24/7
Mhm.
and
US
laser
Space Force
focused on
contract.
providing joint warfighters with the
Yes.
capabilities.
That's, I mean, Elon Musk's probably number one customer is the U.S. Air Force.
Yep, yep.
So that's a big deal.
And then I don't know if Tom, somebody they were talking to that, to me, I think Elon Musk is under a military contract. That seems like most likely to me.
You mean he's a MK Ultra?
Well, I don't know what he was before he got positioned in whatever he's doing now. I'm not saying what I think his whole life is, but like his current action that we see, I think he made it, that they asked him to do this stuff and he decided to do it.
There's Andy.
Andy! Woo! Handsome Andy. You guys are so lucky to see Andy's face. Look.
I'm booting Tara out a little bit. George Webb.
Hey, Andy.
How do you think they feel about my hair? I'm not so Brad Pitt anymore.
No, I know you.
My dad calls me flat.
I think you got the Fabio thing going on now. It's all good. Hey, this is great. They're bringing them in teams right now. This is good.
We had to give you a break from the meander a little bit. You
Okay.
know? I love Tara.
Now Tara's great, and it's funny. We have so many shows that we did together. How many? 300 or so.
Oh, way more than that. We're 1,000. Yeah, we were doing 2 a day sometimes. We were putting up numbers.
And we need to go back because just in that little space, we get on a topic and the person's doing graphics. When you have somebody doing graphics, all of a sudden you go, "Oh, I didn't know that was there. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that."
Mhm.
You learn all these things that are so cool with the visuals. And we have so many graphics in our old shows, and I just want to bring some of that stuff back.
It created a lot of good content in the books. As you can see, this is an older one, but we take some of the graphics we put up and you put them in the books, and
You create a lot of the covers.
Yeah, you just really had to showcase. So the graphics pound it home, like they say, pictures worth 1,000 words. So we can only talk so much, and you just put that graphic on the screen, it can just explain the whole story right there. So
1,000 words for one picture. So some years ago, I threw a few books at you, Ghost Wars, and I read Ghost Wars, yes, and BP and the Red Line Agreement. The Red Line Agreement.
I may have forgot to read those, George Webb.
No, JEG
someone else is saying
he threw
that.
Ghost Wars at me. Ghost Wars I read for sure because I remember in Afghanistan they had faked all these reports that there were all these soldiers out there, and there weren't, and they were getting all the money and just keeping it. The Secret History of the CIA with Ghost Wars. There's a couple of ghosts that I've definitely read that book for sure.
That was kind of Gonzalo Lira's like theory on what was going on in Ukraine at first.
Yeah.
Actually, he was like, it was a ghost war. These are actors on the grounds. They're smoking cigarettes in between breaks and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like he was reporting on it, and then he got chambered in the back room and zapped and waterboarded and came out wrong on the other side. And unfortunately, that's what they do to journalists when you uncover the truth. So it's especially
and
when
we
there's
told
big
them-
money, ghost war money being involved.
We told them
Mhm.
at the border. We said don't stay, and he stayed. And anyway, but yes, I did do Ghost Wars. Uh, BP and the Red Line. I don't remember British Petroleum and the Red Line. I don't remember that book, but we'll look it up. One of the great things about having graphics is we all learn together.
Mhm.
And British Petroleum and the Red Line Agreement. Okay. We're learning.
It's all about pipelines, people.
British Petroleum and the Red Line Agreement. Andy,
Pipelines to power.
you're the guy who is the great reader of the. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Edwin Black.
Edwin Black. How did the West get Middle East oil? The tense chronicle of the international deceit and strong arm tactics of men, oil companies, and government is laid out in a revealing minute-to-minute drama. Massive research supports this unforgettable revelation by a master of corporate investigation, author Edwin Black.
And I've read several Edwin Black books.
He's been on McDuff a couple times, actually. I
Yeah.
believe.
And BP, the one that I remember about BP, and this isn't getting to JEG's question, but the father of Kim Philby, who was the Cambridge Five spy, I can't remember his first name, but he was sort of a Lawrence of Arabia type. And he talked the Saudi Arabian government into giving all their oil to, or at least created the Saud connection with FDR to give their oil to the English government or the U.S. government, I believe, or I could have that backwards. It could have been the Iran. It could be Iran with the British Red Line Agreement. I cannot remember. It would be interesting to see. He's not talking about the transfer agreement. We did that. The Havar. He wrote the Havara agreement as well. Wow, Edwin Black. Okay. He's big on agreements. Edwin Black. yeah. He's good on those agreements because these have nothing to do with each other, I don't think.
So the transfer agreement. No, you got to make it big. I can't read that. The transfer agreement, the dramatic Zionist rescue of Jews from the Third Reich to Jewish Palestine. The transfer agreement is Edwin Black's compelling award-winning story of a negotiated rescue in 1933 between Zionist organizations and the Nazis to transfer some 50,000 Jews, Aaron Adler, and 100 million of their assets to Jewish Palestine. In the process, the organized worldwide Jewish-led boycott against Hitler was stopped by 25th anniversary. Wait, I think I just should have stopped at stopped.
Now, this one I've read. I've read this Edwin Black book, and this was interesting because the first, most people don't know, in 1933, when the Nazis first came in, there was an agreement to get people to go to Palestine. This wasn't death camps. It wasn't Kristallnacht yet. It wasn't the Nuremberg laws yet. They wanted Jews to go willingly, and they were willing to buy them out.
But would you ever leave Europe to go to Palestine?
Probably not, especially at that time, which was, but I know the appeal was, hey, create a Jewish homeland. You should go, but not enough of them did leave, unfortunately. And then they ended up obviously getting worse and worse. But yeah, there's Norman. We talked about your music earlier, Norman. And we promoted the McDuff song. Zev Jabotinsky. He's one of those Zionists of the early days. So I'm guessing what Edwin Black's doing is he's putting Zionism and the right for a Jewish homeland together with oil, and saying the early Zionists knew that oil was going to be the big deal. Right. They knew that the navies were cutting over from coal to oil. And they said, hey, if we're going to get some spot, we should get the spot that's available near the oil versus, having no land, and they couldn't own land in Germany. So I'm guessing what that is. But no, I haven't read this, and I will buy this book and I will read it, JEGA.
So I don't know how to frame this question. But back in the in the 40s and 50s, they were doing like the fight for oil, and now it's like the fight for alternative energy. And we see Trump right now, like just banging oil home. He wants to bring the oil, the barrels. He wants to put the numbers back up and put our oils back up. So, like, are we supposed to, like, is Trump with these guys, or is, you know, or
Well-
is like, or did they all switch to climate change, climate alternative energy, and Trump going back? I don't
No,
know
I
how to
think-
if I framed that question
I think
correctly. but-
Trump is drill baby drill. And this is not too long ago.
or
Trump
is he
was-
just taking a piece of their pie, or is this like,
Well, this is for American producers.
Yeah.
He's saying that America should look for oil again. He's big on fracking, as you know. Of course, Kamala is trying to imitate Trump and how much he likes to frack. But yeah, I think this competes with the Middle East. I think Israel wants to be an oil producer, even though they have no oil, meaning
Mhm.
they have to expand their footprint in the Middle East, and they need to expand. They want to be the next Suez Canal with the not the Sharon Peres, but the founder of Israel, the canal, not the Begun Canal. It's the Sharon. No, not the Sharon Canal. The Ben Gurion Canal. Thank you. All of a sudden, I forgot the Ben Gurion Canal. I haven't done this in a while with you, Andy.
it
This
has
is
been a while. I usually can help you out a bit.
It's 16 miles on the Ben Gurion Canal. We did a show on it, 16 miles on the Ben Gurion Canal. Yeah, show the Ben Gurion Canal project, which is, I don't know how this is going with the war. I think it's probably put on.
Does this
hold.
connect?
It was going to be to the east of the Suez Canal in Israeli controlled territory.
Okay.
And there's been arguments over exactly where to put it,
Mm-hmm.
but this is going to happen.
Canals and pipelines.
Yeah. The Suez, see the Suez
Mhm.
and this crazy curvy Ben Gurion Canal that they have there in that picture is not going to happen. It's going to be a straight line, just like the Suez Canal. It's going to be a straight line.
Fair never gets rid of the ads.
And you see the thing between Israel, the Sinai and Israel, that's going to
Okay.
be a straight line.
So will the Ben Gurion just take a lot of the traffic away from the
All-
Suez and all of it?
All of it,
Okay.
hopefully. There's more of the
That's a
straight
good
line.
map.
Yeah. And you see, when you go to the Red Sea, you can take a left turn and there we go. You can take a left turn at the Gulf of Suez and go up that way, but you're going through Egypt, through a
Mhm.
terrorist country, or you can take a right turn through this Gulf of Aqaba, right? And then at Eliot, you get in the canal and straight up you go. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And guess where that empties out? Gaza.
So they need to.
So if you don't clear everybody out of Gaza, you don't get the Ben Gurion Canal. This is, I wrote the Braverman prophecy on this. This is exactly the route. And it goes right through it. See how with the Gaza Strip
Mhm.
going further this way, it could be shorter. You can move the Ben Gurion Canal over to the border of Egypt.
Okay.
The farther you go in Gaza, the farther shorter you can make the canal. And that's good because that's more scrub land versus going through built up neighborhoods and so forth. It's good for the canal makers. I'm not saying it's good for people who live in Gaza. But
Now, do we as Americans benefit from this at all? Like from giving them so much cash and stuff to help out with their special
Remember,
projects?
I wrote
do we get a little kickback from the Ben Gurion
they
Canal?
make a lot of money. They make a lot of money. Supposedly, yeah. Don't talk Trump with Andy because he says that's the king of bankruptcy, Wilbur Ross. We have to talk about Wilbur Ross. We've talked a lot about Wilbur Ross and the Rothschild banking interests that kept Trump going in the early days with Russian casinos in Atlantic City and stuff. We haven't hidden that from anybody. So yeah, that's what Trump definitely owed a lot of people in his first time around, and Wilbur Ross was one of them. But I think this time around,
So that was like a little payoffs going on the first time
I think
around.
so.
Thanks for helping me get out of bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And now it's like let's get some stuff done.
yeah,
Okay.
I think that was the first time around, and I think the second time around, maybe he would go back to Mnuchin and Wilbur Ross.
Mhm.
He owed those two guys maybe he would go back to them, maybe not. Who knows? But yeah.
Who do you think Trump's going to pick for his like cabinet members this time around? What's your guess?
It's bad luck. I'll wait till after the election.
Commanders in chiefs don't need cabinet.
Yeah. I would like, I mean,
Who do you don't want in? I'll ask that.
I would like to see Bobby Kennedy be the attorney general. I know it's going to be hard for him to get through the Senate, but I mean, his dad got through the Senate. You know, I would like to see Tulsi Gabbard as maybe Secretary of Defense. I don't know. What are your opinions?
Well, I know I don't want to see any of I'm glad the Brennans are gone and stuff, but yeah, the Robert Kennedy Secretary of Health would be fantastic. The I like what he's talking about doing with Elon Musk and like shrinking the government and kind of, you know, bringing the red tape.
That was
back
going to
a
be
little bit.
Secretary of Efficiency.
Is that what it was?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
some made up position. I do think we need to do something with our education system a little bit. America is falling way behind, and we seem to be focused on feelings and education. So someone else that gets in there and raises our children's intelligence a little bit, so we don't have to have George Webb sitting here like teaching all the kids everything with our little projects we do and stuff. So
you should see me with Miles. You know, the one day, you know, Miles is Aaron's oldest boy, and I said, put out your hand. How do I make a nucleus? How does a cell get a nucleus? He says, give me the cash. You put the money inside the cell, put the nucleus in there. I put that money in there. Boom. That thing closes like a rat trap, man. That thing closes quick, right? As soon as he gets that hot cash. And now the next time I asked him, I said, hey, what's in the center of a cell, Miles? The nucleus. And put the cash. You know, we need to see cash. And then I taught him another one, which is, this is all the way to make your kid a
do you have
doctor.
cash this time though?
Oh no, I gave it. I said, how about cell division? He goes, what's cell division? I say, that's when you ask for double of what you've got in the nucleus, and then you separate it between your two hands, and then you put it in your two pockets and you pocket both. Hey, Wendy, good seeing you.
Wendy, Norman,
Yeah.
having fun in Florida. Go check out some of Norman's gigs. He has a bunch of open mics going on down there. In, the Fort Lauderdale area.
And not far from the villages, right? He's close to the villages where there's a lot of good stuff going on all the time. They have all these great speakers at the villages. It's just incredible. So yeah.
You think you think Trump's gonna get the border fixed at all and handle this migratory issue? I'm down in Texas, so I see it a little bit more firsthand down there, and it's
bad news.
Yeah, there's plenty of people just getting hit by, like, my cousin got her car hit by an illegal alien. It's just like cops came, just let them go.
Yeah.
And she's screwed and out of, like, and her insurance went up and everything. And that happens all the time. And it's like, just stuff like that is frustrating, let alone like our school systems being swamped and our other like welfare and infrastructure being ran down. Is he ever going to actually get this taken care of and get that wall built? And
I think he got 600 miles done. I think this next time with nothing in his way. Even Kamala Harris says that they built a wall now. You know, the things I love are the ones where they say they did it, right? You know that it's got to be the right thing. Kristi Noem for Secretary of the Interior. Do you see that one up there? I think that's a good one. I'm not sure Sarah Palin for anything, but okay. I don't know what
Sarah Palin, she's coming back on the scene.
Well, somebody's recommending her for maybe Secretary of Energy. Maybe, I don't know.
Kristi Noem post plastic surgery is a lot better than pre plastic surgery. I'll say that.
She had plastic surgery.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well,
look at that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it does work. Yeah. But I mean, you know, a lot of these congressional members are doing bikini pics now and so forth.
I know it is absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, what have we gone to?
Yeah, but Kristi Noem actually can't shoot a shotgun. I've seen her shoot a shotgun.
Do you think Trump's tariffs are his tariff plan is actually gonna
It's going to work.
make us a lot of cash?
He did it the first time. Most people don't remember. The Ford F-150s had a 35% tariff in China, and then the Chinese cars had 1%. And most people said, well, if you raise the 35% tariff on the Chinese cars, it's not going to make much difference because we sell a lot more F-150s. They won't care. They cared.
Mhm.
They cared. They really want to get their car business going. So they were like, okay, well, so they lowered the tariff on the Ford F-150s. There's, and all these other commodities really don't matter as much as like our auto industry. That's our auto industry.
Mhm.
Aviation, that's our thing.
Mhm.
You don't want to be giving that away. Give away.
Grains too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of competition, which is okay. Competition is okay, but we do need to have farms. We do need to have
Mhm.
manufacturing facilities. They just have to have those. And Trump understands that. And Trump spends time here, right? If you're here, I mean, how many factories do we go by? I drove by like 6 Ford factories today going up to see Trump. You cannot come to this state and not go by Ford, GM, Chrysler factories and Jeep.
Mhm.
Down by where you live, you got
Yeah.
the Jeep factory there. So I know Trump sees it. He's not going to, Reno very often. Every once in a while he goes to Reno. Yes, we need card tables, we need casinos, I guess, but but he spends most of his time here. And
This overtime issue is big for all the union people. Nobody talks about that.
right, okay, I'll repeat it. Tom's mentioning who spent a lot of time making a Ford F-150s.
Inspecting Ford 150s.
Well, I don't know. He's troubleshooting's a lot harder than you think. Troubleshooting's a lot. 99% of every problem is diagnosis. Let me just tell you that.
That is true.
But Trump's talking about
That's what I'm doing here.
I know you are. Thank God you're here. Thank God you're here. Thank God you're here. But what Tom's talking about in Trump's proposal is no tax on overtime. So
Mhm.
if you're really good at your job and you've already put in 40 hours and now you're going to keep your expertise going where there's no defects, it's going to be, where, you don't have to training costs and all these problems and defects and so
Mhm.
forth. Now we're not going to have that. How about tax on tips where waitresses don't pay taxes on their tips?
He's talking about getting rid of the income tax, period.
Well, that's going to be a little harder with Congress. They love their money, but
That would be
Trump is
great.
talking about getting rid of income taxes because with a booming economy and more sales tax, people spend more. So there's another way to get the money, but you have to be a pro-growth president in order to do that. You can't scare people to death where they're putting their money away. So we'll see what happens. But I love the idea of no taxes on overtime, and I love the idea of no taxes on tips because waitresses are working overtime
Mhm.
anyway. So, and I can't see what Wendy's comment is. Was up there a second. Oh,
He mentioned the tariffs on Joe Rogan's show. She
Oh, we
was
mentioned
If
tariffs.
they're gonna print the money, there's no reason to collect income tax. Just print the money.
We'll repeat them.
Okay.
He's printing. Mark says
So-
he's printing the money.
okay. Okay. So it's all good. We'll repeat it. Which is the Mark's mentioning that you got BlackRock and other Vanguard, State Street, etc., just organs of the Federal Reserve. That anytime the Federal Reserve wants to just print money, they can. So it's like, what difference does it make? I mean, we may as well just have a sales tax. So we're going to get Mark in here and get everybody involved. I see an ad from Mike Rogers.
That's not sharing screen.
Oh, okay. Mike Rogers from the NSA, of NSA fame, 2016 fame, is running for senator here in Michigan. Here is the esteemed owner, proprietor of Neighborhood News Newsroom. How you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Okay. You made a comment about the Federal Reserve.
Well, not necessarily the Federal Reserve, but it's the general tax policy that if you're just going to print money, there's no reason really to collect the income tax. The whole idea was that the money would go to pay the bonds or the debt that was incurred by the government. But inflation in itself is a tax. If you're going to print the money and debase the currency, it's another form of taxation. Um, I just don't see that there's really a reason. And that was the other thing too, that Trump had mentioned, that he would replace the income tax with tariffs, because that's how the government was run prior to 1913 and the establishment of the income tax.
Right, right. I remember the board of whatever it was, the board of trade or whatever. Alexander Hamilton, the board of taxation, what it was, something in foreign trade. I can't remember, but there was only one secretary. It was just the secretary of foreign trade, because that was where the money was coming from for the government.
And keep it in the state. Let the states decide what they're going to do with the money. It doesn't have to be sent off to Washington, and then you have to do tricks like a dog to get it back. With, you know, with, well, this is the policy, and if you do this, then you'll get money. Let the states decide. Let them collect the money at that level. The whole idea of the federal, just outside of the District of Columbia, is really
National defense was the only original reason, and they figured they could handle all the national defense with the taxes on tariff and trade.
Yeah.
Right. Originally.
you might have to pay higher taxes in the state, but at least you're doing things at a more local level.
Now, what's the story behind this dark MAGA hat? You know, Elon, how did you get on the inside to get that?
We had the flag man here, and he was selling hats too. And the whole dark MAGA thing came up, and I have decided I really wanted to get a hold of one, and
You
did.
won't be a target this come this January 6th. You'll be one of the insiders.
And taking a stand, and I'm, okay. And
This
it's,
is
and it's like, yeah, I'm standing with Elon. I'm standing with the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, our Bill of Rights.
Have you won the $1 million yet
No.
from Elon? Can you show us the latest $1 million winner? Because I think what we've got here is
$1 million win.
well, Andy asked the question, Elon Musk, for everyone signing a petition to support the First and Second Amendment, he's paying $47 to the petition person who gets the signature. But for the person who signs it, he's choosing and paying $1 million every day between now and the election. And it's for the last 16 days of the election. So you're just, can the audience see these pictures?
No. I was looking for your flag.
Oh, and the flag man, I deleted that one. Yeah, because people said it was too much flag. And I said, it was about flags. I said, there's so many flags, they said.
There were.
I'm like, well, yeah, I was taking a picture of all the flags to show you how our newsroom had attracted all these flags. But anyway, maybe it might be good to go to my Twitter for a second, Aaron, if you'd be so kind. Because I want to show you, we were in Novi, we were in all these different places where the Trump locations are. We just got back from there. There's Novi, packed, totally packed.
The Novi Showcase.
There's the Trump flags there. There's the Charette House. Well, we go to the next Twitter. Oh, we go to the next. We don't have to go into the video, but it was. There's where we're having our charrette right now. If you,
It's us, everyone trolled. Then Bobby.
that's us broadcasting to you. Or no, that was
The monkeys and Henrietta Lacks.
Or no, that was the thing I did this morning.
Well,
Okay,
a lot in overseas.
all the time
so
running together.
they cut the video.
Keep going. This was me 2 days ago at Novi.
12
And we're going
12
to make sure
Russian operative.
slaughtered in Novi. If you keep going down. Another thing, and these need to all be sent out to your friends. Retweet them to your friends now. That
Well,
we're
there's
on-
the flag man right there.
There's the flag man. There we go. And there's our address at Summerfield, right? And it was nice to have him here.
Yes.
It was very nice to have him here on the corner. And we're got 9 days to go. I think we're going to be busy over the next 9 days right here at this location, between running around to all the different Trump family members here and also doing all the stuff with the charrette. I think we're going to be busy. And we're not even in business the first month yet, Mark. We
No.
started on the 4th of October, the day before the Jumpin' Jack Flash jump by Elon Musk. Right. So it's not been we're on the 26th 26th.
Monday, Eric Trump.
26.
Eric Trump is tomorrow in
Monday.
Wyandotte. Where is that, Mark?
That's downriver here. Yeah, it's downriver.
Tell me is that near Dearborn?
It's south of Dearborn. Taylor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
10 minutes. Yeah.
10 minutes from here. We'll be there. We don't get to choose here. Everybody says, why can't you go to my favorite town? We don't get to choose. The Trumps choose where we go. Really. I mean, and JD Vance chooses where we go. We really don't. And they're loading up now on Michigan. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, one of the big things happening right now is, of course, the Rogan show was on last night.
Yeah.
He's already got 19 million views just on his channel set in the last 12 hours.
Yeah.
19 million just on his, and then there's others with hundreds of thousands that are retweets. It's
Right.
amazing.
Right.
And the other big news, and I don't think we've talked about yet, is that Tucker's going to have him on Thursday night with RFK Jr.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to be Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Gigantic. He says it's going to be the biggest Tucker show ever.
Yeah. Thursday night, we'll probably do a
That's
simultaneous
Halloween.
watch party.
It'll be Halloween.
That's Halloween. Wow.
With RFK in mind, and I have mentioned it before, but it's not my idea. It's just, that I've heard this through other channels, is that possibly RFK being named the Attorney General in the Trump administration. I kind of wonder if that might have been why Boris Epstein was out with all of these other names, because he's afraid that might just happen.
Right.
Just a thought.
Boris Epstein, who was kind of like always a Russian spy in the Trump campaign from the time I was in Washington, he dropped this hint that Eileen Cannon, just a name he picked out of a hat, who's doing Trump's Mar-a-Lago raid trial. He said, Cannon's going to be the Attorney General. I think it's because, as you say, he does not want RFK.
Oh, he brought up all these other Jeff Clark.
Yeah.
There was the other one, Mike Davis.
Tom Rance.
They're all fans of the Patriot community. With the Art of the Free Project, and they're all doing their thing. Jeff Clark was the Attorney General there in the last month or so of the Trump administration. But anyhow, they're all in the running. But I'm kind of wondering that after hearing, I think one of them was Martin Armstrong. That they were they wanted RFK as Attorney General, and there are probably others that don't, because he's just not. RFK to some in the Republican Party is just not an acceptable candidate.
Right. I hate to, put the cart before the horse with, cabinet members and so forth. It's bad luck to talk about, but there you go. There's a few people's name out there. I think RFK Thursday night will be a huge show with Tucker and Trump, obviously. But, I watched and I listened to the 3-hour interview that got 19 million views. And so far, right? Well, we listened to it earlier, and, I hate to say it, but, not a lot of juice. I know I like Trump. I like the fact but permissible assistance, guys, the assassinations, 3 assassinations. He only said there was 2. There's been 3 assassinations, and permissible assistance. This is the thing that's going to allow the DOD to shoot protesters for the first time in U.S. history. That's a big deal. And I know he knows about it because he tweeted it out. So I know Rogan knows about it, and not to ask Trump about that after what happened at January 6th with that false flag, you have to talk about permissible assistance. So I think they missed the ball there, but it was all in all a pretty good interview. I mean, they were kind of talking like 2 guys might talk about boxing and talking about, guy talk, football and whatnot, which was interesting, kind of hanging around the Cracker Barrel. But I do think permissible assistance should be brought up on Thursday night, because this is what they have planned for us if they lose, is shooting the peaceful protesters. Right. So how do we deal with this? So, I mean, it's a big deal. And they wouldn't have passed it now if they weren't planning on shooting you. I mean, it's.
Well, I would just go back to the story of Esther, and you know, this could end up being the big reversal. You know,
Esther's the one that turned into pillar of salt, or
no, Esther, there was, you know,
That's Saul.
Haman and the, it,
I thought wasn't.
but they, you know, that was,
Story of Esther is the Jewish woman. Okay, I'll go back.
Mark, tell them about it.
okay, there was a move to kill all the Jews back in those days. Okay,
Yeah.
and then essentially,
Oh, is she the one who said, I'm a Jew" to the king?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember it now. See, I saved myself.
yeah, and, you know, but it was, but you know, the gallows that were meant, you know, it was reversed, and those who planned it ended up getting it.
Right. I see. So Esther was like, okay, the king said we're going to kill all the Jews, and Esther said, I am a Jew. Was that to
And
like
but
a
then there was
pharaoh? Or
Haman was the
Haman was the king.
No, he was the character there. Gosh,
Who was the king of? We're having trouble here. Who was the king of Egypt at that time?
there he was bringing it up there. Okay.
We're going through it quickly.
So this was in the Persian days. Okay, so this was during the exile. Mordecai discovers a plot to kill all the Jews in the empire by Haman, one of the
Haman.
king's advisors. Okay, and Mordecai is, Esther. Okay, so it ends up that Haman ends up being the one who dies. Okay, and not
I
the
got you.
Jews.
So this
Okay,
is the reversal you're
yeah,
talking about.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
it always seems to be the reversal. You know, there was, Ephraim and Manasseh. You know,
So you
somebody
think
crushed-
this
it could be
shooting of
the permissible assistance, that's a double-edged sword. Okay.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so
I would hope we would be gentle with our DNC brethren. But
They're not gentle with us.
right. Yeah, well, I mean, they definitely deserve fair trials. That's for sure.
Right.
But there you go. Okay. Permissible assistance, I still think is the number one thing that they should talk about on
Right.
Thursday that they haven't talked about. And RFK has talked about it. So maybe RFK will bring it up. Yeah, with Tucker. And then Trump will learn about it or get RFK's angle on this. But
Because you're still dealing with human beings. And
yeah. I mean, to me, it's such a big thing to talk about, not to talk about it on the 3 hours. If let's say Trump only had an hour with Joe Rogan, then I could see not touching on it. But 3 hours, that's a long time. You had time.
This was his longest interview ever.
Yeah. He had time. He had 3 hours. So there's some boxing talk in here. There's some talk about how he acclimated to the White House when he first got to the White House. There's a lot of stuff, but as far as the real juicy stuff, I didn't really hear a lot of juice in this interview. This morning's 3 hours, I think, on permissible assistance, you get a lot more. So anyway, what did we miss, Aaron? What should we be covering that we didn't cover?
how about
Wealth?
the flop at the BRICS conference?
Oh, why don't you cover that?
Mhm. It
First, BRICS is a market basket of securities with Brazil, India, China, Russia, and others. That's the BRICS abbreviation. Go ahead.
we'll say past tense now because essentially India vetoed the BRICS plan. Because they looked at it, I guess, look at the way it was set up, it was going to essentially be 60% Chinese. India didn't want to participate because I'm going to guess that, what difference does it make whether the Americans or the Chinese are, in charge or whatever. But Russia and China are going to work together now in an economic. But the BRICS itself, it didn't work out. I guess maybe it'll come back. But the way it was looked at, there isn't a BRICS currency at this point in the future.
There's a BRICS crypto now, though, correct? There's a BRICS crypto, which is sort of a futures fund if BRICS ever became a currency, or
Well,
Those trade amongst themselves.
yeah, it was mainly inter-country trading. Yeah.
and there's tension between China and India right now. The water issues, on the border and that. So,
Hmm.
they're There
So-
could be continued negotiation, but as whatever they had proposed here, it wasn't acceptable to India. And
Yeah,
and
sounds like
they'll-
it's going to reform, like Tom says.
Yeah.
It's not, the bricks haven't all fallen into place yet.
yeah, and so I guess I don't know how it was played in Las Vegas or anything like that. Winners or losers, but if this thing would have maybe pulled off, it could have sent some shockwaves through the economy.
Because some people were saying, hey, if bricks is backed by gold or one of the commodities in the basket, in the market basket of 20 commodities, if it's silver is one of the key commodities, or gold or some precious metal, then we'd rather have that than US dollars printed up by, the Federal Reserve with nothing behind them. So that was.
Yeah, and India and China are both like big silver
They're buying like
coun-
crazy right now.
countries. Silver's been a part of their monetary systems. Oh yeah,
You are the silver shark.
yeah, because like
You
know,
are
remember
marked
we
the
made
silver shark.
we made trade dollars back in the 19th century, and those were made really for export trade into Asia. It was, of course that helped to fund the opium war too, and keep the silver price.
The next China for silver. Okay, I got you. So great. All right. Well, that's kind of a tour around the world. That's stealth, which I cover, health, which Tara covers, and wealth, which Mark covers. So you got all three. And Andy, I don't know, kind of does it all.
The question there, the basket commodities. I do believe so. I think gold. I think gold standard of some sort with the U.S. dollar is the future, because we have to get rid of this fiat currency. It's destroying our country, and we need to come back. We have real weights and measures. I mean, imagine a football field. It's 100 yards. And you put it in this way, and you have 10% inflation. So the next year you got a 90-yard football field, okay, and you go 9 yards for a first down. And the next year, that's what they've been doing with the money. At a $5 silver certificate, okay, look like an old $5 bill, except it's got a blue seal on it. It's got the Abe Lincoln, we had greens and the reds and the blues, but that was 20 silver quarters essentially. That's that $5 bill from like the Kennedy administration, because that was the last time we had those. That'd be about $150 of purchasing power today. But
Right.
but it's a $5 bill. It's that nominal confusion. It's like the frog. They just slowly take it away, because 2% inflation is they're still taking 2% of your money away. Okay, use the rule of 72. 36 years. It's
got all
gone
your
to
money.
it's gone to zero.
Yeah. And it's a lot more than 2%.
And the same thing's happening now with this debit and credit card thing.
Mm.
The banks are getting 3% off every transaction, not just online, but I'm guilty of it too. I've got cash in my pocket, but I use my card because it's easy,
Mhm.
and so they're grabbing money from those guys. And if I'm not paying my bill every month, I'm paying interest like crazy too.
Oh, like a 25%
Well, it
default
can
rate.
be. If
Yeah.
you're smart, you have a credit union that does
Pay
10%.
it down. Yeah.
No, they charge you 10%.
Yeah.
But if you get the thing in the mail, it's 28 to 32%.
Yeah. Jamie Dimon. You get Jamie Dimon, it's 36%, their default rate.
And
Yeah.
you use that money, okay? And when that dollar, that's the later one. They did them up till the Kennedy.
I saw a couple of
57.
those when I was a kid.
There's a 57. But again, like at that time, the minimum wage when they ended was $1.25 an hour. That's 5 silver quarters. So right there, that's put minimum wage at about $30 an hour.
Yeah.
And they're trying to talk to you about, the 15. It's like, no, that's why you're seeing the longshoremen wanting a 77% wage increase, because you have to offset this. We all need a big raise. So
Right.
print the money and give it to us.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Health, wealth, and stealth all in one show we got under an hour and 30 minutes. Wow. We did it in under an hour and 30 minutes. Subscribe to the channel, send these messages out, timestamp this thing on YouTube to your favorite part, send it out to your friends. the wealth part or the health part or the stealth part or all of it, whoever you want to send it to. The big thing is we want to get the subscribers up over 500 and then get them over 1,000. We're rebuilding from Gretchen Whitmer destroying this down to 0. So that's 23 times. So that's where we're at. So subscribe if you would. And wow, it's been fun. This first show has been fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for all joining us. Health, Wealth, and Stealth here at Neighborhood News and Neighborhood
totally.
Sanctuary now. Neighborhood Sanctuary and Neighborhood Refuge. Because now here's where you go if they take the election again. And we got our water cut off. We got our heat cut off. We got everything got cut off for a while. And we have internet yet? I don't know. We'll go
Yeah,
back
they
and-
were supposed to be there today between 12 and 2.
Okay. All right. We'll go back and see if we got internet. But if they ever do the internet kill switch, go to your Neighborhood News Refuge. There we go.
You guys live
Okay.
channel.
There we go.
Channel, yeah.
What's done is done. Did you stop? End the stream